Greetings from Self-Oscillation again. Tonight we have another reading for you, and this time it is from Aaron Thomas Milstead's novel, Earworm. The back description. After being diagnosed with a degenerative brain disease, losing his wife, and being deterred from visiting his only daughter, Ripley McCain doesn't want anything more from life except to dull the pain until he finally dies. The universe, however, has a different plan for him. If the recent voice in his head is correct, Ripley has one more chance to be a father and a husband, not to mention save mankind from a fate worse than death. Or perhaps he's simply hallucinating, and all this is just a symptom of his medical condition. Either way, he's going out with a bang. Both horrific and heartwarming, Earworm is a bizarre tale of consciousness, ancient aliens, conspiracies, and a whole lot more. The excerpt tonight is kind of about conspiracies, more so just theories about TV shows from the 80s, 90s, or maybe even the 70s. I don't remember when Gilligan's Island came out. To help get you set up for this one, there's a couple things you need to know. I'll set the scene. Basically, there's about 4 or 5 friends. They're all hanging out at somebody's house, drinking some beer, and discussing TV shows and what they think is the underlying message in each one. Aaron Thomas Milstead always picks some very interesting character names, and so you should know that one of the characters is actually named Savage, and one of them is named Fieldy. There's also a Benny, and there is Ripley McCain, the main character. So here we go, a nice little reading from Earworm. Savage never was one to stay up late, Nikki said. I remember when I spent weekends at your house, and how you'd always get up like clockwork to watch Saved by the Bell. That's lame, Benny said. That show was pure shit. Pre-teen masturbation fantasy put into sitcom-sized chunks. Well, that's not far from the truth, Savage said. I personally ascribe to the theory that the whole thing is just Zach's escapist fantasy. Basically, he's dreaming the entire thing. Like the season of Dallas that my dad still bitches about, Benny asked. No way, I said. Zach gets into shenanigans sometimes, and doesn't his arch rival date his dream girl? Yeah, Savage said. He's constantly getting into trouble, but he always comes out better for it. And Kelly might occasionally flirt with Slater, but she always ends up with Zach in the end. That Kelly is one fine bird, Fieldy said. I'd bonk her. Has she ever flashed those baps? If by baps you mean tits, Savage began, then yeah, she has. In the Skinamax classic, Sweet Dreams, she even has a bit of a lesbian scene with Jamie Presley. Your spank bank knowledge never fails to impress me, Benny said. I'll take that as a compliment, Savage said. But back to my point. Zach was always so cool. Originally, Saved by the Bell was called Good Morning Miss Bliss, and Zach was more like Screech. The girls didn't like him, his classmates made fun of him, and none of his shenanigans came together. It was only after the show became Saved by the Bell that he was transformed into I Raised My Hand. But how does that corroborate your dream theory? Well, for one thing, Savage began, it explains his sudden transformation. Secondly, there's the theme song. It's a dead giveaway. Savage belted out the song with what was a disappointingly good voice. Since my voice is only disappointing. You see the bus fly by. So how does that prove your point, I asked. He's awake in the song. My point exactly, Savage said. The scenario he's describing is reflective of the loser Zach. But in this series, he's a winner. The song is subtly pointing out that the real Zach is still a loser, but that this new series is his dream fantasy. I'm not ready to fully buy that, Benny said, but you've made a compelling argument. Nikki smiled. If we're going to talk about theme songs casting a series in a new light, then let's look no further than The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Will was actually dead during the entire 6-run season. Lay it on me, Savage said. I glanced at him and realized he pulled out a shiny blue glass pipe and a Ziploc baggie filled with undoubtedly some prime kush. It's simple, Nikki said. He's talking about his life got turned upside down. And what he means is that those couple of guys making trouble in his neighborhood actually did a drive-by on his ass. That's racist, Benny said. Bullshit, Nicky said. Will Smith was a rapper. Kind of. A drive-by was a vital component of any rap song. Anyway, consider his journey to Bel-Air. He's drinking orange juice out of a champagne glass. His license plate says fresh. And when he arrives, he ends up sitting on a throne in his kingdom. Will is actually in heaven the entire time. Not bad, Benny said, but I think I can one-up both of you. What do you got for us? Savage asked. Benny smiled and said, the reason the inhabitants of Gilligan's Island can't escape is because they're actually in hell. I've watched every episode at least twice, I said. I gotta hear you justify that one. Savage finished packing his pipe, lit a match, and inhaled. I was eager to ask him to pass it over when the smell hit me, and I was instantly nauseated, and the thought of inhaling filled me with a deep dread. I'd never been so turned off by anything in my life. I had to fight the urge to run out of the room. Are you okay? Benny asked. I nodded, and then he laid his theory on me. So consider this. Each character is representative of one of the 7 deadly sins. Mr. Howell is obviously greed, and his lazy wife is sloth. Ginger is lust. And the innocent farmer girl Marianne has a clear case of envy. The pompous professor is obviously prideful, because he can't admit that he's too dumb to get them off the island. You resemble that remark, Savage said. Benny waved away his jab and continued. Now, you have to assign 2 of the sins to Skipper. Gluttony, because of his eating issues, and wrath, because he's always yelling at poor Gilligan. Not bad, I admitted. Benny nodded and said, I tried to lay this one on my class. They don't know what the hell Gilligan's Island is. Now here's the real kicker. Gilligan isn't as innocent as you might think. In fact, he's Satan. How so? Nicky asked. He seems like the only good one on the island. Ah, the great deceiver, Benny said. He's constantly sabotaging their plans to escape the island, and obviously he's dressed for the part. The red shirt. It went on like that for 2 hours, with the guys laying out more and more outlandish pop culture theories while they got obnoxiously drunk. You do not have to get obnoxiously drunk to enjoy Earworm by Aaron Thomas Milstead. Remember, for the rest of March, it's only going to be 99 cents. I will drop the link in there, and please take a look. Until our next reading, stay safe and stay healthy.